Hello, friends.
Hello.
We've been getting a lot of requests from friends throughout the world who are troubled by current events in the world, conflict in so many different places, conflicting approaches to many, many different aspects of global governance. And we just thought to share with you some thoughts that we hope will be helpful in moving forward and how you as an individual can deal with the world in which we live today. Swami gave a series of talks which he called Building Spiritual Power Against Troubled Times. And I think it's fair to say we're living in troubled times. And so what is the kind of spiritual power that enables us to deal with such times? Well, first of all, it is based on a deep inner life in which we have, through meditation and discipleship, we feel that we are part of a greater reality, that the shifting sands of this world are not that ultimately the final reality. The Master says in Autobiography of a Yogi that souls reincarnate on this earth again and again, particularly to learn how to work with the material world. I found that very interesting, that there are other worlds you can go to where the material world is not that dominant. But in this world, this earth, it is. It has a tremendous sense of reality and of dominance over the subtler worlds. And so for us to learn how to deal with the material realities around us, whether we're living in an area where there is armed conflict or whether we watch things happen on the news that are upsetting to us. But ultimately, we must learn to find that strength within ourselves and that experience, not just a mental affirmation or thought, but the experience that the true reality lies within ourselves. And then that gives us the strength to deal with whatever comes. You know, in the fight for Indian independence, Gandhi's nonviolent movement, it took tremendous courage to do what they did and not to be violent and to stand up and be beaten down by the British physically and emotionally and mentally, economically, every single way they did during the colonization of India. But the courage it took to know this is true and this is right. Gandhi called his movement the Sangraya movement, the movement of truth. And that's very, very important in these troubled times, to find truth not in what you read in the social media, what this left-wing or right-wing news broadcast offers you, but the truth within yourself. That's where truth lies. It doesn't lie in other people's opinions. And to start by finding that truth, that center within yourself, so as Master said, we can stand unshaken amidst the crash of breaking worlds. But as well as having that courage and strength and alignment with truth, I would say more important is faith in God. This is His world. He knows what He's doing, he or she, however you want to phrase that. But to understand that his human history in part is played out by choices that human beings make, but there's a much greater plan. There's a divine plan. Part of that is the cycles of the yugas, which are great galactic cycles where human consciousness rises, ascends in a 24,000-year cycle, and then descends. Right now we are in an ascending age of Dwapara Yuga, but it's still an age of instability and conflict and inability to really recognize true values and truth at this point in Dwapara Yuga. The higher ages, Treta Yuga, Satya Yuga, there's more alignment. But I read, somebody said something very interesting. What is free will? Free will is to true free will, not just desires or inclinations or superficial motivations, but true free will is to do the will of God. And that's what we need to look for, to, in our faith in God, say, you know best, you know what should be done. Let my actions, let my thoughts, let my reactions, my words, everything, let them be in alignment with your consciousness, with your will. And if we can do all these things, we will find that not only can we weather the storm of troubled times, but we can be a source of hope and strength and guidance and direction for others. And so our Guru has given us so much, and Swami has amplified it and lived it so that we could see it in building communities and sharing these teachings and spreading Master's mission of world brotherhood throughout the world. And so we just need to follow these lights to the full extent that we can. And if we do, the troubled times, I think, the waves begin to diminish if enough people can align themselves with divine truth and divine will. All the fluctuations of the human ego will begin to fade, and people can stand unshaken no matter what happens. So I hope these thoughts are helpful to you.
One of the difficulties during troubled times like this, when there's so much polarization and so many different opinions and anger and judgment on the part of so many people, hurt, pain, suffering, that pulls the consciousness down into separation. There's a mass karma as well as individual karma. And the mass karma that is produced by consciousness of lower emotions, anger and hatred, judgment, violence, all of those, sends a wave of energy out into the world. Master actually said that the Spanish flu was caused by the negative thoughts of mankind that were brought up during World War I. And so we can say, I'm sure, the same about the COVID pandemic. But man's thoughts create a kind of a vibrational field that produces either good energy or bad energy in the world. And so right now, with so much tension and so much polarity, there's a lot of negative thought patterns going out. We as devotees, most especially, have to counter that, not by getting drawn into the negativity, not by fighting against the ill and the evildoers, whoever we see those to be, but rather by lifting our consciousness, by putting out vibrations of peace and harmony and joy and goodwill. In our meditations, what we should try to do is to tune in. Master actually defined meditation as deep concentration on God or on one of his 8 qualities, eternal qualities, like love and peace and calmness and joy and wisdom. In our meditation, then, we should try to meditate on those qualities, to focus on them, to focus that light in the spiritual eye, to hear the sound of Om. These are unifying elements in nature. And if we can attune our energy to those inwardly and keep our consciousness uplifted, then our thought waves going out will create a magnetic pattern that will help counter that which we don't like. So let's be warriors. but let's be warriors of light, of love, and joy. God
Okay.
bless you.